Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we are going to play around with the Lighting the Way stamp set and dies. So this is the set that I will be using today. So this is actually a carryover into the new catalog, the annual catalog. So we're going to play around with this. And then I'm also going to be using some of the dies that go with this particular stamp set. So I just had a blast creating with this stamp set. And I have 3 different cards here that I did in, I'll show you the colors in a minute. And then I have 6 additional cards that I want to share with you because those 6 additional cards are actually the cards that I'm going to be featuring in my August tutorial. So I always give away a tutorial for free to anybody that places an order with me. So I decided to use this particular bundle because I just had a blast playing with it. So good morning, everybody. So we're going to focus on creating 2 of these cards. And I have, I'll show you the colors right away that I used. So I used some Granny Apple Green and then the Early Espresso and Daffodil Delight. So those are the main 3 colors. And I'm using some of the designer paper from the Delightfully Eclectic Designer Series paper pack. So that's what this yellow is right here. And then I also used some designer paper from the Stargazing Designer Series paper pack. And so I'm going to show you just a fun little trick that I discovered, and it works perfectly with this stamp set. But I'll show you that in a little bit. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. If you are just joining me, this is the set that I'm using, Lighting the Way. So it's a really fun set. So let me show you the cards. So these are the 2 cards that we're going to focus on for this morning. So I think we'll start with this one. Now, like I said, I used just 3 different colors to create this card. I got to get all my pieces off to the side here. Hang on one second. So I'm using Granny Apple Green for the base of the card. And then I'll tell you a little bit about the pieces here. And then I have a piece of designer paper that is 1¼ inches wide and it's 5½ inches long. So it goes the full length of the card base. And then my focal point, I just used a piece of white cardstock. You can use a die, some type of rectangular die if you want to get a little fancier. But this piece is just 2¾ by 4. So that's going to be for our main focal point. And then I have some other die cut pieces that I used for this card. So I'm going to start by looking for my glue. That's what I'm going to do. And I have to get a new one because this one's almost empty. So I'm going to open a new glue here, but we're going to start by adhering the designer paper to the right side of the card. So this is what's on the back of the designer paper. This is from that, I think it's called Delightfully Eclectic. And we'll put this on this side of the card. So I like to use liquid glue because I can scoot this a little bit here. It gives me a little bit of play. So the next thing I did is I just used one of the images from the set. So I'm going to use this little image here. And I'm just going to add some Granny Apple Green to the card base. So I'm using the same color ink as the card base. Actually, I'm going to move this out of the way here for a second. You could tell I was playing with this. I created a very nice scene on my scrap paper. Sometimes that's where the best ideas come from, my scrap paper. All right, so I'm going to use this as kind of a guide because I know this is going to go kind of like that in the middle. So I'm just going to start at the top here and we'll just stamp. I'm just stamping this in the background just to get a little bit of um, design, I guess, in the background. And then we'll stamp this down on the bottom. So I just wanted to get a little bit of fun stuff in the background there. Actually, I should probably just leave this here. So the next thing I'm going to do is just create that focal point. So I'm just going to set my card base to the side. One of the fun things about this particular set is there's this little lantern in there. It's actually not little, it's kind of big. But this is going to be our focal point, and there's a variety of different ways that you can, bring light through this lantern. I decided to just use a little bit of blending. Let me grab my stuff here. So I'm going to use some Daffodil Delight and a blending brush, and I'm just going to add some ink right in the center here. So I just kind of use that as a little guide. So this is probably the easiest way to add the light. There's a little stamp image. There's a couple different stamp images in there where you could also use like these little circular images that are in the stamp set to add the light to your background, but I can never get it straight, so let's add a little bit more. And I kind of figured that, by sponging this or brushing this, I keep calling it sponging even though this is a brush. Oops, I used the wrong one. Almost got a green. Lost my train of thought. So anyways, by adding this, it's forgiving. You can get a little bit of light color outside of this lantern. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be perfectly in the center. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So let's get this out of the way here. And we'll bring back our card so you can see. So this is the focal point here. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this lantern first. So you can make this as dark, your yellow here, you can make that as dark or as light as you want. So you'll notice the first one that I did, I made it a little bit lighter. This one I made a little bit darker. So we'll add that. And you can also pop this lantern up. You don't have to adhere it flat. We'll add this. And this will just go right here. So that little bit of stamping in the background just gives it, I don't know, it just gives it a fun little look in the background. All right, and then the last couple of things I have here, I have some little leaves that I stamped using the Granny Apple Green, and I basically just layered those together and then adhered those on the side of my lantern. But I'm actually going to add my greeting first. And I used Early Espresso to stamp my greeting. And this is just a 1/2 inch by 3 1/4 inches. That's what this little white piece is here. So we'll just add that. And then I think I'm going to add that first. I think that's what I did. sometimes when I'm creating a card, I do some different things. So let's add this first. We can always trim these leaves down to tuck those in. But we'll add this across, we'll add this across the bottom. And then these two, I'm just going to layer together. So let's scoot this up a little bit. It goes like that. So I like to use the dimensionals to hold them together instead of trying to glue them together. I just kind of use some dimensionals just to hold these two pieces together. And we get some mini dimensionals here. I might have to cut that bottom off. We'll see. And I think that looks probably pretty good. All right, let's see if we can tuck this in there. I think that looks all right. So there. So it gives you a, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a fun little look. And then I stamped these little lightning bugs. I'm going to put a bigger one on this one. So there's a large one like this, and then there's a smaller one. So you just stamp a couple of those, and then you can cut them out with the coordinating die. And then you end up with just a really cute card. So you can see this is lighter, obviously, than this. I kind of like the darker one, but all right, so that is the first card that I wanted to show you. And the second card is just a lot of stamping across the bottom, and then your lantern kind of in the middle of the field there. So I'm going to bring back my scrap paper, and I just started with a 5 by 3 3/4 inch piece of white cardstock, and we're going to use Granny Apple Green. And we're going to use one of the leaf images, one of these branches from the set. And so I just kind of started stamping this image, along the bottom of this cardstock piece. So we'll just add, let's see, do about there. And then we'll do one over on the side. All right, so we'll do that. And then there's a little grass image that you can kind of go in here and just kind of fill it in. I might have stamped that over too far, but that's okay. We'll make it work. All right, so that gives you the grass. And I used some yellow on my green, so let's see if, there we go. And then what I did is just took my blending brush here and then just added some green across, these little leaves and stuff, just to kind of blend it all together. It just kind of finishes it off nicely. All right, I think that's good. So let's get this out of here. Nope, let's not. Keep taking it away. Okay, so our lantern's going to go here. So that works. So notice how I just kind of left a little space for my lantern when I did my stamping. So this lantern will go here. And I'm going to cover up my green ink, or I'm going to end up giving us a green light instead of a yellow light. So now we'll do the same thing I did on the other card. I'm just going to add some of this yellow right here. So we'll just make it a little bit darker here. Get that out of the way. All right, that looks good. And we'll move this. And now let's try moving that out of the way. So let's move this back. And then, so I'm going to add this right away. And then we're going to just mat this out on a piece of Granny Apple Green. Get a little bit in there. And then we'll just line this up right with the bottom of the card, or the card stock, I should say. We'll put this on here. And then we'll put it on our card front. And then you can use really any colors you want. I just liked the Granny Apple Green with this yellow and the brown, just kind of look nice, but you can make it as colorful as you want to. All right, so then we'll add our little bugs. Here's one. And I just popped these up with dimensional. And then the last thing I did is I just used, I'm going to grab that scrap paper again. So this time I used just the thanks off of this greeting. So I'm just using the first word on this greeting. And let's see if I can stamp this without cutting it. If you line it up with the edge of the paper, you can just stamp the thanks and nothing else. And that's exactly what I wanted. So we'll just snip this off. You can also stamp it just across a piece, like, this is a 1/2 inch wide piece of white cardstock. You can stamp the whole greeting out if you want to, and then just cut in between the words. But it's far enough away that you're able to, stamp just the thanks. I'm going to add a small dimensional there. All right, so this is the last little bit. Then I just added my little greeting there. And then we're done with that one. So cute, huh? I like these colors together, and I really like this set. And then I will bring back the other cards here so you can see them. So these 3 cards will be out on my blog later. So I'll get those out. But then I wanted to show you some of the cards that I created for my tutorials. So I don't know if you heard in the beginning, but I always put together a tutorial just as a gift to anyone that places an order with me. I like to send out a little gift to people. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek of some of the cards that I created for that tutorial. So these were done with, the green and the yellow combo, which I really like. But then I kind of played around with the stargazing designer series paper. And so one of the things I wanted to show you, and I'm going to leave this card right here. This is the stargazing. So if you haven't seen the stargazing designer series paper, it's the one in the catalog with all the astronaut and planets and rockets and all that kind of stuff. But the designer series paper just works perfect for this lantern. So you might notice that in the background here, I have this yellow, kind of like this yellow cloud, I guess, in the background. So this is the designer paper that I used, and I'm going to show you what I did, which you probably can already figure out what I did, but I'll show you anyways. So I just used some Daffodil Delight and my blending brush, and there's this nice white section that goes through the designer series paper. So you can cut down your designer series paper to whatever size you want. This is 3.5 inches wide. And this one is 5.5 inches long. This one is 5.25 inches long. So depending on how you're going to use it on your card. But you can just sponge this yellow color right across that white on your designer series paper. And then you can get that cool look for the lantern. So I was pretty excited about that. And I did that with a couple of the different pattern papers that are in that pack. So it gives you a nice yellow look. Of course, you can sponge it whatever color you want. I just wanted to use the yellow to go along with the lantern here. But it just gives a really cool look. And then when you create your card, you have that kind of yellow glow in the background. So just thought I would share that with you as kind of a fun little thing that I found as I was putting these cards together. But I really like the blue and the yellow together. So I created a couple of cards with this blue and yellow. And then I added some cardstock behind the lantern instead of doing some sponging. So, or blending brush, whatever, whatever you call it. And then here's some more with the green and the yellow. So this one's very similar to the one I just showed you. I just added some designer paper. So this is again that stargazing designer series paper up here at the top. And then these are the last two. And again, this is that same stargazing paper. It's just in the purple instead of the blue. And I did the exact same thing. I just sponged some yellow or brushed. It's easier to say sponged. I sponged some yellow in, on this part of the designer series paper. And then I added my lantern. So just some really simple cards, but fun way to use that designer series paper. All right, so let me put these over to the side. So those will be in the August tutorial. These cards right here will be in the August tutorial. So you'll be able to get that tutorial, like I said, for free. And the host code is valid now through the 28th of August. So if you place an order between now and the 28th of August, then I will send you this tutorial for free. So it's just my gift to you. I'm trying to figure out how to get back on the screen here. Oh, there we go. I knew it was coming. All right, so there you go, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed those card ideas. I had a lot of fun with this particular bundle of products. It's no longer bundled, so you have to order the stamp set and the die set together. But it's definitely worth it. There's just so many fun things that you can do, and you can use the designer paper that is in the current catalog just to create some really cool cards. I just really love these cards with the stargazing designer series paper. They just look very cool. So. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the card ideas and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. And I will see you guys again next week. So take care, everybody.